What the actual is self-actualization? This is part 2 of my self-actualization series, where we are going in on what self-actualization even is. In my first session, we talked about what self-actualization isn't. And today, we're going to get super clear on what self-actualization is. What I'm about to tell you about self-actualization is going to seem too good to be true. It's going to seem like fairy dust, magic, and rainbows, simply because our minds are conditioned to focus on the exact opposite of self-actualization. We've been conditioned our whole lives to ask for permission, to compare ourselves to everyone else, to try and get other people to like us and play small. Self-actualization is not begging everyone else to like us. Self-actualization is knowing who you are, releasing all doubt about that, and going all in into the very edges of expressing, especially when it comes to sharpening the saw, expressing to your highest capabilities in the area where you're already obsessed, where you're already a genius, and creating perfection there. On this path is where you meet your limitlessness, your connection to your source. To be human is to be limited, but in this particular area where you're a genius, where you're already obsessed, this is where you meet your limitlessness. This is where you meet your truest self and your connection with the creator. You can tell that this is true. Ask yourself if you know someone who is always looking outside of themselves, so much so that they don't even notice that there's a self here, looking externally to food, to money, to external approval, to a certain person that they want to love them. Look at them, notice. 1 minute, they're happy. The next minute, they're miserable. Like the weather, they have no control over how they feel because all of that is placed outside of them. Everybody knows at least one person that fits this description. You know one person, at least, who's doing the complete opposite. They're going all in on them and they are obsessed with something and that brings them out. This person is showing you the way. Self-actualization isn't complicated. It's just completely different than your mind has been conditioned to know. So this sounds too good to be true. That's why Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. Self-actualization is multidimensional, multifaceted, and there's so many layers. All of them get to bring you back home to yourself. And I'm going to leave you with one more quote from my favorite self-actualization representative, John Livingston Seagull.
There is a reason to life. We can lift ourselves out of ignorance. We can find ourselves as creatures of excellence and intelligence and skill. We can be free. We can learn to fly.
What we know about this life is so limited, but the truth is, this is so much bigger than this can begin to comprehend. Not something you're going to hear people talk about, but it's the focus because it deserves to be the focus. This is what life is about. Stay tuned for the next in this series. Who knows if it'll ever end?